Alright, I just put together a dino deck using Tyrannos Infinity, which is the one that gets 1,000 attack for every banished dinosaur I have, and walked into ranked for the first time, knowing that full well that I would not recognize a single card that was played. So he starts out with a bunch of stuff I don't know what it is, using a Grenadier archetype. He gets this really obnoxious field spell on the field, combined with probably his worst monster first turn. And does a whole bunch of special summoning. There it is. This guy. This guy's obnoxious. He makes me discard. Where is it? As a quick effect. Nope, hang on. If I draw anything into my hand except during the draw phase, so any additional drawing, or putting cards in my hand rather, as a quick effect he can make me send one monster from my hand or field to the graveyard. Which really is a pain early on. And then he's got this, he can negate once per turn. He can tribute 2 spellcasters or grenadiers to negate the activation. Pretty much anything and destroy the card. So I'm keeping my eye on that one, trying to bait him into using that first so I can trigger something else later on. Not a good opening lineup. Not great anyway. And then he uses this thing. His field spell I think is overpowered, where his effect applies if I put cards in my hand on anything other than the draw phase. This one is if I put cards in my hand on anything other than the damage step, which means every time I draw a card he can do this. And then he can just special summon a Grenadier from his deck in defense position. And, I mean, you're seeing the stats and effects on some of these things. Yeah, that field spell is, well, power creep in the game. There you go. Anyway, so he gets another one. I don't even remember what this one can do, but yeah. And then, because he special summoned it in using that effect, he can fill his field with these tokens, which can be used for effect tributes. So immediately I throw out Swords of Revealing Light, Giant Rex. This guy was the MVP of this match, actually. My deck focuses on milling my own cards into the graveyard and then banishing them to boost the Tyrannos Infinity. But this guy happens to be a really flexible card and all that, because when he gets banished, I can choose to summon him to the field instead. And if I do it that way, he gets 200 attack for every dinosaur I have banished. Not quite the 1,000 that Tyrannos has, but it's not bad. The trick is he can't attack directly, so a little bit of a limit on him. And this one, that's saved my hide later on. So, I summon a monster, and so he triggers his thing, sacrifices 2 tokens, and destroys my Swords of Revealing Light right away. Oop, that's gone. But he used it for this turn, so we can't use it again. Tributes that, I don't even remember what he's doing here. Gets something else, oh now he's boosting his stats. Alright, well I did a little bit of damage, got my negate attack down, and this is, I'm actually trying to fail the coin toss on this so I can mill my own deck into the graveyard. It doesn't go so well. Alright, so he's going to put that card back, draw another one. If it's a monster, he special summons it. It is, he gets yet another beast on the field. Draws something, I don't even know what this thing's doing. Because it's been special summoned, he gets another one. Plant or something, and it's going to be the same one. He's going to summon that. He's got a good archetype going on. There he goes. And he went ahead and destroyed my monster. I don't even remember which effect he used for that. Probably this guy. Quick effect, you contribute any... or maybe it was him. I don't know. He destroyed it. So I'm defenseless, and he's got 100 shy of a full wipe. So I'm going to try and do a quick mill, because I have a bunch of cards that can be activated from my graveyard. So if I can get them in there, I can get a little bit of a defense going. And unfortunately I call it correctly, so I just banish his graveyard instead. Not what I wanted. But I was able to negate his attack and end his battle phase, which somehow he didn't counter. After that, I follow up, knowing that he used up his counters for the turn. I was finally able to activate Rivalry of Warlords without him being able to counter it, which means he can only have one type of monster on the field. His archetype uses different types for every single monster. And this really slows him down. He wasn't able to counter it because I didn't... He had a counter here, but it only affects... It's continuous. You can just keep using it, but it only affects when I activate in response to one of his Grenadier monsters or effects. I didn't activate in response to his Grenadier monster effects, I just activated it, I think, at turn end, or something like that. So he actually wasn't able to counter it. Basically a field wipe right there, not quite. Still got this really annoying one. Alright, this one, this is going to be kind of like a pot of greed, but it's not banned. I have to mill out for my extra deck, which I specifically put here solely for that purpose because I don't use it. So I draw 2 from that. Unfortunately, because I drew, he was able to make me discard my monster, which I would have been able to special summon. That would have been nice. But I got a Solemn Judgment, which is a half a life point cost, negate pretty much anything. And a Jar of Avarice, which is going to let me collect some of these back from my graveyard to my deck. I want to keep the monsters in there, but I want to get the spells back. Spells and traps. Alright, he's doing a whole bunch of shenanigans. I don't know everything that his stuff does, so I'm just kind of waiting to see what the final result is. See if there's anything in particular I need to counter. Alright, so he gets a face down in this thing. So, part of what his archetype doing, at least with this particular Grenadier, is he actually wants me to draw cards, and then he's going to make me pay for it every time I do. So with this one, while he has a token, which he no longer does because of my Rivalry of Warlords, let's see, I can't target his Grenadiers for attacks, and if a Grenadier effect monster is destroyed by battle, I draw a card. But then he would punish me for drawing the card. Kind of interesting. But he gets a direct attack in, so far so good. Alright, this one, another clutch card here. So he has 2 effects that I can use with this. I can discard him and protect all my dinosaur monsters for the rest of the turn from card effects. Pretty powerful, actually. But then, once he's in the graveyard, and I'm still getting used to all the official rules and some of the timings and this stuff, so I may have messed up here, but once he's in the graveyard, I can banish him and other dinosaur-type monsters from my graveyard. And for every one that I do, I can special summon a dinosaur from my deck, whose level is equal to the number of monsters I banish. So I get a bunch of dinosaurs banished, and I get a special summon. And so I pull out Tyrannos Infantry. 4 banished, special summon him, so he's at 4,000. Unfortunately, looks like, I can't remember if he counters this. Oh, he just reactivates his field spell. Don't know why. But, oh, that's why. He made me draw. By reactivating his field spell, he makes me draw. By drawing, his monster makes me discard a monster from my hand or field. I have none in my hand, so it has to be the one on the field. So I use Jar of Avarice to get my traps back, as well as the Tyrannos Infantry. And then after that, I draw 1 card. What card I draw? It's a search card. Lets me get not quite any dinosaur monster, but I only have like 2 that are above that level, so it lets me get any one I want for my deck. And hey, what do you know? I want this one again. So I put him right back on the field. That was a total cycle. He managed to counter my play, and then I redid it anyways. With the luck of the draw. If I didn't get Fossil Dig, I probably wouldn't have been able to. So I get him on the field, he's got 4,000, and I take out the one that's been giving me such problem. And I get to draw a card without being punished for it. That's kind of nice. That one's biting him in the butt right now. And again, this guy comes to play later. So I've got a milling card and that universal counter. He's going to end his turn, so I'm just going to go ahead and activate this, get more in my graveyard, and eat him. Swords Revealing Light, I drew a card. He gets a special summon. Like, literally, just during my draw phase, because I'm drawing, he can just special summon one of these guys. It's power creep in this game, man. Special summons are like a dime a dozen now. You usually go through several in a turn. It's pretty crazy. Alright, something that monster did, let it tribute itself to destroy mine. He really doesn't like my Tyrannos Infantry. Alright, fair enough. And my guy can't attack directly, so I'm just posting up, put a Swords Revealing Light down. Just draw this out, see if I can get anything better from draws. He doesn't play anything. Comes to my turn. Pot of Duality. He can special summon again, because I drew a card. But whatever. Pot of Duality down. That lets me reveal the top 3, and then I pick one to add to my hand. The others get shuffled back in. I want to keep milling my deck, so I go for this. Set this guy down. He's also kind of defensive. When he's attacked, he changes himself to defense position, and then once per turn, he's not destroyed by battle. So basically, he kind of blocks the attack for no cost, kind of thing. And then during my next main phase, if he's in defense position, I can special summon another of him for my deck. So it's kind of nice. It's actually a little more useful than the ones that get destroyed and special summon a copy of themselves, because he's not destroyed necessarily. He gets a second chance. So here, I try mill. Unfortunately, I am against call it correctly, so I just banish his graveyard. I don't think it hinders him at all. Funnily enough, I drew another field comedian, so I just play that down and continue the stalemate. He can't attack. He's posting up on the defense position monster. Alright, that's up. And another field comedian. Well, alright, fine. Let's just keep up with this defense posting. Problem is, so the way field comedian works, even when it does work and I mill my own deck, it's based on the number of cards in his graveyard. Well, I just banished his graveyard, so I can't do anything with him yet. I'm waiting for him to build up more cards in his graveyard again. He sets a card face down. I figure I'll take my chances. Got nothing better to do. Yeah, that was accurate. Got that taken care of. It's destroyed. Another Solemn Judgment. I don't want to fill up my traps and spell slots yet, so I'm just keeping it in my hand. Mystical Space Typhoon. He is targeting Rivalry of Warlords because this is really biting him in the butt. He can't play any other monsters at the same time because he can only have one type and he has all different types. So he's going to try and get rid of it, but I'm just going to counter it. Hefty cost, but totally worth it. And again, people figured this out a while ago in Yu-Gi-Oh! Life points only matter when they hit 0. So if you have to pay thousands for a cost of something, it really doesn't matter until you actually are fully out of them. He tries to counter, I counter the counter. Alright, so now I've actually drawn just one of the big heavy sticks. This one can be special summoned by, again, banishing 2 dinos from my graveyard. So it gets more of them banished and just gets him on the field pretty easily. It's kind of nice. And then he's pretty potent, 3,500. I can destroy a monster on that I control. Yeah, one monster in my hand or field. And if I do, I can flip all his monsters into face-down defense. He can attack once to every one of his monsters each, and if he attacks a defense position monster, instead of attacking it, he can just send it to the graveyard and inflict 1,000 damage. It's pretty potent. So I get that. I replace my Solemn Judgment because I just use it, so now I've got the second one down. Banish 2, and get him on the field. And at this point, I'm just going to start trying to tear into him. Destroyed it, and then did 1,000 plus 1 direct attack. Rex can't attack directly. His move. Now he's got a pretty full hand. Now with this one, it didn't show it in the replay, but this actually took me forever trying to figure out if this was worth countering. I basically banked on the fact that he didn't have anything else he could really play at this specific time, and I know I've seen this one be used to get stronger monsters on the field in the same turn. Yeah, he can special summon a level 9. By tributing himself or something like that. So he was going to get his big bad back on the field, which would be really annoying. So I'm like, you know what? I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything else this turn, but let's just cancel this one out. I took myself down another half of my life points down to 1250. But I negated his summon and destroyed it. And now I see he's got, what, 4 or 5 in his graveyard, and so I'm just going to go for another milling attempt on myself. And I was able to get both of these. Finally. Or rather, specifically, miss the coin flip so I can mill. So now I've got a bunch in my graveyard. Still not as much as I wanted. A lot of spell and traps, unfortunately, but enough to make things work. This is another counter. Unfortunately, this one has a flat life point cost that I can't pay, so it's pretty much useless to me. I drew a card so he can special summon with his field spell, but because I've got him on the field, his defenses don't really matter anymore. Attack and destroy, go for another direct attack. At this point I'm being slightly more cautious with my life points. Might as well switch him to defense since he can't do a direct attack. I don't want to accidentally die, and he gets Reggae. Now that is a limited card. You can only have 1 in your deck at all. There's limited for 1. Semi-limited means you can have 2. No restrictions means you can have 3. Banned means you can't have it at all. So he just takes out my entire field. And of course, I can't pay this because it's a flat cost, so I can't do anything with that. And my life points as low as they are, he can wipe me out right here. However, because I managed to get the mills off last turn, milling my deck into my graveyard, I now have cards in my graveyard that I can activate from my graveyard. Specifically this one, it's the only one I have in my entire deck. It's the only non-dinosaur I have in my entire deck. It allows me, when this graveyard effect allows me to banish 7 other cards, which, if I'm trying to banish my dinosaurs, is really useful. and then special summon it to the field. And it's not a bad 4-star either. It's not like super weak, and it's more than enough to take on his. So I can just special summon my, both banish my monsters and special summon a defense for this turn that literally saved my life because one direct attack would have been enough. This is where I kind of goofed, not understanding which effect it was asking me to activate. Didn't quite specify, so somehow I activated her effect twice, banished 14 cards, including the one on my field. But anyway, she did manage to get special summon. I'm not going to sweat it too much. That's just on my part trying to figure out the system still. And then because she's special summoned, I can flip his monster into face down defense position. Now, here's really interesting. Giant Rex was one of the ones that I just banished. Because I banished Giant Rex, I can special summon him instead, and he gets 200 attack for every dinosaur banished. Well, which ones do I have banished right now? Let's see. Oh, looks like I've got 10 of them banished. And his card's in face down defense position, so we can't even do anything. Now, Giant Rex can't attack directly. But, and this is where it gets so beautiful. Because I drew a card, he can use his field spell to special summon one of his Grenadiers. So he special summons the Fortress. And because he special summoned using his field spell, he can now also fill his entire field with tokens. And he's going to go ahead and do that because he's bulking up his defense. Problem is, his tokens are in attack position. And while Giant Rex can't attack directly, he can still do battle damage. So, I'm going to finish the game. Winning kill. Now he activates this card's effect. Alright, what can you do? You contribute 2 Grenadiers, and these are Grenadier tokens, so you contribute them. Then target 1 card on the field and banish it. You can only use this effect once per turn. Well, shoot. He's going to banish my Beatstick. Oh, wait! You can't banish him. Because I can just special summon him again. And so I did. It was still my battle phase, and I hit his last remaining token for battle damage and won. It was beautiful. Like, of all the cards, he picked the one banish-proof card I have. Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah. So I'm still working on this deck and see if it's not fun. I'm gonna get my butt kicked in ranked, almost assuredly. Meta's everywhere, but it's still fun, so I'm going for it.